Hello and welcome back to Animated Banners with CSS. Now that we understand how our looping snow animations are going to work, let's export our snow images now for use in our banner. So if we turn off all of our layers except for the snow front layer, we can see our snowflakes, and it's kind of hard to see because of the color of the background, but if you look close enough you can see the different snowflakes there. And these are the snowflakes that are closer to the camera. And as we discussed in the last video, all we're going to do in order to make this work is we're going to make the image of our snow twice as tall as the banner itself, and then we'll just make another copy of what we see here and paste it above in the upper half of that image. So we can do this one of two ways. We can either create a new image or just temporarily make this image taller. I'm going to go ahead and start with a new image so we don't get confused. So I'm just going to hit Command N or Control N on a PC to create a new file. And then our original banner is 900 by 300. This one needs to be twice as tall, so we're going to make it 900 by 600, and then we'll click on OK. Now for now, I'm going to color our background a dark color so that we can see the snowflakes. So I'm going to hit Command Delete or Control Backspace on a PC, and that will fill the currently selected layer with the background color, which as we can see down here in our color selector is black. If black is your foreground color, then you can use Option Delete or Alt Backspace on a PC to fill with the foreground color. Either way, fill that background layer with black, and then let's grab our snow layer and drag it into our new image. So we've got the snow front layer here. I'm going to click on it to select that layer, and then using the Move tool, I'm just going to click and drag it up onto the untitled document here. And then if we hold on to Shift, that will paste it right in the center of the document. And we don't really want it in the vertical center of the document, but by doing that, it places it in the horizontal center of the document. So all we need to do is move it down now. So I'm just going to nudge it down, and it doesn't have to be exact, but we want, let's turn our background back on. We want to take a look at our lowest flakes down here, and it looks like it's about 10 or 15 pixels up from the bottom of the document. So let's come back down here, nudge this all the way down, and then just nudge it up about 10 or 15 pixels. So the snowflakes on this layer take up about 300 pixels of height, which is half the height of this document. So when we make a new copy of it, we're going to move that new copy up exactly 300 pixels. We don't want to try to eyeball it, otherwise the effect might be ruined when the animation loops. We need to make sure we move it up exactly 300 pixels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command J first of all to make a new copy of that snow layer, and as we can see in our layer stack, it created that new copy. And then I'm going to move it up exactly 300 pixels by using the Move tool. And remember, if you hold on to Shift and hit an arrow key when you have the Move tool selected, then it will nudge it in that direction 10 pixels. So all we need to do in order to move this up exactly 300 pixels is hold on to Shift and then hit the up arrow 30 times. And there we go. So we moved it up exactly 300 pixels, and now we have an image of snowflakes that's exactly twice as tall as our banner, and the bottom half is exactly the same as the top half. So when we create our animation later on, it's going to start off with the bottom edge of the snow image aligned with the bottom edge of the banner itself. So there's going to be an extra 300 pixels of snow that's just lying outside the top border of our banner. And then as we move our snow layer down, we're going to see everything in the top half start to move down to the bottom half. And once it gets all the way down to the bottom half where the top of this image is aligned with the top of the banner, then it's going to loop back and give us that illusion of a seamless animation of falling snow. So before we save this, we need to make sure we turn the background layer off. And then I'm going to save for web, so we can go to File, Save for Web. And I want to choose PNG 24 because PNG files handle transparency a lot better than GIFs. And we can see that this PNG file is going to take up about 19K, which isn't too bad. So we'll click on Save. And eventually we're going to create a folder that contains our banner, HTML, and CSS and image files. But until we get to that point, let's just save this in our assets folder So I'm going to save this as snow-front.png. So we'll save that, click on save, and then we can do the same thing for our smaller snow layer. So I'm going to turn the background layer back on, grab our snow front and snow front copy layers and just delete them. And then we'll go back to banner 03, turn off the snow front layer, turn on the snow back layer, and we can see that's snow. So we'll click to select the snow back layer, and we can just drag that again onto our new file. Holding on to Shift, that will drop it in the center of the page, and then we'll just nudge it down towards the bottom. And we want to make sure that those items or those flakes down here at the bottom are pretty close to the bottom. And again, we can come down here and pick one of these flakes and see where it is in relation to the bottom of the screen. And that might be kind of hard to see, but we can get a good idea just by looking at that. But we want to make sure that they're all pretty close. And then we'll hit Command J to make another copy of that layer. And then again, hold on to Shift and hit the up arrow key 30 times. So we moved it up 30 times, and that creates a duplicate layer. Now another way to make sure we're doing this right, let's go ahead and delete that copy layer that we created, is we can drag down a new ruler or a new guide from the top ruler. If you don't have your rulers turned on, you can hit Command R or Control R on a PC to turn those off and on. If we click on that top ruler and drag down, once it gets to the vertical center, it should snap right to the vertical center there, and it snapped for a second and then moved away. Let's move these snowflakes down a little bit. Then let's drag this down till it snaps to 300 pixels. Then we can drag this back into place and make sure that everything is kind of centered in that bottom area. Make sure that none of these snowflakes at the top are coming above that line, otherwise it will mess with the illusion. So once we get it centered in that area, then we can make another copy of it and nudge that new copy up 300 pixels. And there we go. So then we can hit Command H to turn our ruler off, and we have a nice seamless image to use in our animation. So let's turn our background layer off. We're going to save for the web again. We can go to File, Save for Web, and then again use PNG24, click on Save, and we'll save this as snow-back. And again, I'm saving this in the Assets folder. Later on, when we create our folder for our HTML and CSS files, we'll pull these images into that folder. But for now, we'll save it in the Assets folder. And once we're done with that, we'll move on to the next video. Thank you for watching.